Hi, I'm Dr. Zeina, and I'm a chiropractor.
Hi, my name is Doctor Asad Khan, and I'm a chiropractor as well. Looking forward to having this conversation, spreading the word of chiropractic and all that it has to offer.
All right, awesome. Look at you guys, superstars. Hi guys, Dr. Jessica here. I'm super excited to have you back again for our series. So you want to be a ... We're back here with two of my favorite chiropractors. They have definitely saved my life and back. And I'm very excited to talk to them today. We have Dr. Dana and Dr. Assad. If you guys want to say hello, that'll be great.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. How's it going, guys?
Awesome. Well, I just want to dive right in today, guys, and really get some more information on becoming a chiropractor. So, whoever wants to start, kind of give us how you guys got started in this career.
I started what now seems like a long time ago, just because of the daily life, everything just seems so busy. And thinking back at it now, I can't believe I started my career as a chiropractor in 2014. I decided I wanted to be a chiropractor back in 2010.
Oh wow, that was
Yep.
a quick turnaround. Okay.
Yes.
What kind of I'm not gonna forget you, sorry.
No worries, no worries.
So you decided you wanted to be a chiropractor in 2010. What kind
Correct.
of brought that about?
So I always knew I wanted to be in the medical field. I come from a family where a lot of my uncles are in the medical field, and I was always inspired by the impact that they had on their patients, on their family members, and everybody around them, on their communities. And I knew I wanted to have a little bit of that as well. But I didn't know where to go. Like, I didn't know what sector of the medical field to be in until I met a chiropractor who, just like we did for you, pretty much saved my life with endometriosis. So I coupled chiropractic treatment with naturopathic medicine along with acupuncture, and it has been life-changing. So I wanted to have a little bit of that onto somebody else if I can.
Awesome. That's really cool. What about you, Dr. Assad?
For me, wanting to be a chiropractor was really late in my career, especially within school. My first experience with chiropractic care was in high school. I had a sports injury. I was playing basketball and I rolled my ankle severely. I had the fortunate opportunity of having my mother be a physical therapist. So my experience and interest within human body really took off from there. I went to school, did a lot of science classes, and as I was almost completing my bachelor's, I knew I wanted to be in a medical field. I had no idea where though. And it just really took a lot of visitations. I looked into dentistry, I looked into physical therapy. And then ultimately, upon my visitation with a couple of chiropractors that I was shadowing around me and then seeing the school, it really clicked for me as well. Just from the recovery aspect that I had, it had rehabbing, which I was really a fan of, just with the background from my mother as well. And the opportunity to be a doctor and really dictate things too. So once I had the school visitation, and just really made sense for me.
Awesome. Now, you said your mom's a physical therapist?
Correct.
And you're a chiropractor.
And I'm a chiropractor.
So what's the holidays conversation like for you?
More like honestly, more like dinner conversations.
Dinner, okay.
Conversation. It's just the hey, how are you? How's everything? Oh, well, let me tell you about this one patient. And then there you go. We just talk about that, cases, interesting articles she may have read, just kind of keeping up with things too. So, unfortunately for my wife, she's just sitting there, just on her phone, just not engaged as we were just going back and forth.
She may have heard the stories many times over.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Like, this is the third time.
So, all right. So let's go into schooling for you guys. So what was that process like? How long were you in school? What was your favorite course? Did you have to take any board exams to become Doctor of Chiropractic care?
Yep, Doctor of Chiropractic.
There we go. It's a tick for me. I don't know. So whoever wants to hop in and kind of give us that idea for anyone that's interested.
For schooling, I remember whenever I think of school, I remember the first day, which was, I think it was like an open night or like an open school, whatever, something. And my mom went with me, and I was still discovering like the schooling of chiropractic. And we went into the cadaver lab. And I was like, this is what I want to do. It was late at night, so it kind of got creepy. But it was like, oh my God, I definitely want to do this. So I shortly after I enrolled and we started. But chiropractic school, depending on the institution that you go to, is either quarters or trimesters. I graduated from National University in Lombard, Illinois, and that was in trimesters. And that was 10 trimesters before graduation. So about 3.5 years with summers included.
Okay.
Yep.
So I went to the same school as well in Lombard. I'm originally from Chicago, so it made sense for me. That was probably my number one choice. I did visit other schools. I visited Parker. I was in touch with people. I never made a visitation out to a school out in Georgia, Life University. But really just, again, seeing the campus and going from there. As far as courses that were favorite, definitely the anatomy lab. I had the opportunity to see the old one. And then when I started, they had the new lab, which was like up to date. But just, it's very surreal walking in, seeing the cadavers and seeing students work on them. Like, it kind of got old really quick, unfortunately, just with the smell itself. But it was really interesting just to see how hands-on you get with that. For me, rehabbing was a big component as well. You do learn a lot of that as well. Anatomy, of course, in general. I was on, so there's different phases with that track as well. So it's quarterly, and you can go as fast as you can to finish within less than 4 years. If you want a middle pace or a slower pace, there's definitely options for that. I initially started the fastest pace during school. In the middle of it, especially during the harder courses, like in Tri 5 and Tri 6, I decided to get married. So I had to slow down just because life was getting in the way. But no regrets. But no regrets. No regrts.
Do I need to edit that out? Your wife might not like that, but okay.
No. She was there. She knows exactly. So I had to slow down with the workload because you are taking an enormous amount of classes with labs, like 16 to 25 to 24 credit hours per trimester. And if you're not doing, it's a full-time job in school and outside of it. So I slowed down and for about maybe 2 semesters. And then when I had the opportunity, because there's different phases with that, once I was in the phase 2 of the program, I ramped it back up and try to get out of there as fast as I can and start working.
Awesome. So I didn't realize that you can pace yourself within the program. So if you pace yourself, do you still need to finish within like the 3-year time frame, or how does that work?
If the fastest that you can go through it is 3.5 years, and you can take as long as you need to finish, but it's more of a cohorted program at National. And then the slower phase, I think they had it mapped out for 5 years, right, Dr. Asad, if I remember correctly? Yeah.
Right.
5 years.
In totality would be the 5 years.
Wow, that's really different. I didn't know, because my program for pharmacy school was a quarterly program, and they were like in and out, sis. There's no mapping anything out. All right. I know one thing that a lot of students have difficulty with or anxiety surrounding is cadaver lab. So that was something that I was, as a pharmacist, we don't have to do that, which I'm happy about. But a lot of students are really scared of going into a field where you do have to have a cadaver lab. So what advice would you give to students who are thinking like, I really want to become a chiropractor, but I just don't think I can do the cadaver lab? What would you say?
The cadaver lab, for sure, in the beginning, like as soon as I walked into that room and smelling the formaldehyde, it was a shock. And then to know that these cadavers were actually live human beings at some point in time. One of the beginning portions of that class was maintaining respect for the cadavers. And how we maintained the respect was to always keep their face covered as we're working on them, along with keeping their hands and their feet covered, because that's very personal. So I think in that moment that allowed me to disconnect a little bit and just focus on the bigger picture of why I was in that room for a very short period of time to achieve a bigger dream that I had. So I just had to push myself through it. And then lo and behold, I became a teacher's assistant for head and neck. So I guess I wanted to be in there for, for a little bit longer.
Yes, you did.
Definitely. Yeah. And then the other aspect of it too is, if that's something that people are apprehensive of, just be forthright about it. Let a professor know. I know I had in one of my anatomy classes, I had a student who just wasn't comfortable with working with it. Now you had to do some portion of it, so we understood that and we worked through it as well. But you do get desensitized to it. I remember the first week, probably maybe 2 weeks of anatomy one. I didn't eat lunch afterwards. Ironically, we had a 3-hour lab, and then it was lunch right afterwards.
Oh,
I wasn't eating after that.
Oh.
No, I had no appetite, no whatsoever. But
everywhere we went, it smelled like it, and it was
yeah. You had to bring extra pair of clothes. It was in your hair, and God forbid I made the mistake of chewing gum one time, and then it kind of just I didn't recognize. I just walked in, was chewing, and shortly thereafter, I was like, yeah, this isn't happening again.
Lesson learned. Yes.
Right.
Okay. That's really good. I really like how you guys kind of broke that down. Even now I would be like, oh, okay. I think I could do that.
And, learning directly through the cadavers, I think allowed for the best learning experience. Especially as chiropractors, we're working with the human body. We're working with kinetics. We're working with biomechanics. And it's very hard for us to look through like the Gray's Anatomy book and to just see pictures. But being hands-on and then comparing those structures in different cadavers, because although anatomically there are very similar structures, but all human beings are unique in their own way, and there are so many variations to everything. So it was a very, very great experience to be in there.
Awesome. That's really cool. So, all right. So you mentioned having kind of different paces to go through, but in between the trimesters, were there any exams that you needed to take besides your regular like finals or regular course load exams? Anything for licensing?
Sure. So there are this is for me was the most stressful part of chiropractic school was the board examinations. So just like medical school and pharmacy school, I'm sure every state has different requirements for board examinations. There are a total of 4. And most states do require all 4 board exams. So Dr. Asad in the beginning mentioned the phases. After phase 1, we all had to pass our first board before we're able to move into phase 2. And I think everything that we learned during that time prepared us to excel in phase 1. So I think students have the option of taking it at different times, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there were 1 to 2 to 3 different opportunities throughout the year that they would have the scheduled dates. I think there's like a spring, summer, and a fall examination dates. So you would just have to map it out accordingly, what worked for you as well. And then,
Man, it sounds like chiropractic school really sets you up to succeed.
No doubt.
Without a doubt, especially ours. That's part of the reason our school is more of the evidence-based practice. And their board passing rate was pretty phenomenal at the time. I think it was in the upper 90s. So, and that's going to be the biggest challenge with anybody. The class, the information is what it is. There's obviously going to be changes as we find new research. But the most intimidating factor, without a doubt, was the board examinations.
Right. And there is board material that students pass around, and since it is a cohorted program, everybody just becomes very supportive, and then everybody's in it to win it. My class, we weren't very competitive against each other. It's not like high school, not like college. Everybody was in it to win it for the profession, not just for themselves. So I think that was a very, very cool part to witness too.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So a lot of times, in high school, undergrad, you have to be competitive because you're wanting to achieve. Exactly. But once you get into your professional program, that competition you're really just there to support each other to get through.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. going into like a professional graduate program, you really build a family.
Mm-hmm.
So like one thing we hear a lot in pharmacy is that it's a small world. Is that something you guys were told fairly often through your schooling, or that you've noticed now that you're in your career?
What does that mean?
So for us, meaning it's a small world for pharmacy, like you're going to know somebody that knows somebody that knows the same person that you know. Everybody knows each other. So like you can go anywhere. Like for instance, I have friends in Georgia, I have friends in Columbia or South Carolina. Across the nation, I have different friends that are in pharmacy. So I've had students who will say, "Hey, I met this person and they said they knew you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we went to school together."
Oh,
Or
wow.
we did this presentation together, or they were on a call with me. So I was wondering, I can see how it may not be that way, but I was just wondering if you
Correct.
guys can kind of.
Not very similar. I mean, I hope that we're going to get to a point in the chiropractic profession where it'll become a much smaller world. But unfortunately, and as you may have witnessed too, Dr. Jessica, from being a patient, it's not a very common profession,
Right.
or it's not very popular, right? So it's becoming a lot more appealing to students. I have 2 current patients right now that are interested into going into chiropractic school. And one of them went from accounting to chiropractic. So it's pretty cool to see that the interest of the young ones is shifting into more of a holistic and a natural profession. But it wasn't, I mean, before I found my chiropractor, I didn't even know that this profession even existed. And this was 10 years ago. So things are a bit different now, but there is a lot of room for growth for sure. So one day we'll be able to say that it's a small world.
Yes. Well, I'm excited for that. What about you, Dr. Asad? Do you have anything?
Yeah, it is a field that is growing. It's not all the way there yet. I wouldn't say it's officially mainstream, but it is getting a lot more popular too. If you look at sporting teams, they all are starting to have their own chiropractor on site for their players. MMA is a really big one as well. Those professional fighters will have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, and with social media and the growth of social media, everybody from one region is connected to one another from across the world. Chiropractors are now really starting to utilize and capitalize that with marketing, but as well with just overall being recognized too. So that I can think of a couple of people that are really popular on, for instance, Instagram. In that regards, if you do have a strong media output in that, you will be known and people will reference that. I have a lot of people that come up to me, like, I've seen this chiropractor that treats this person or this athlete. And is that something that you do? And maybe yes, maybe no. But in that regards, it is trending in that direction, just not all the way there yet. And the other thing too is, with the students that I was with the program, I do follow them, like at that family feel. You do just keep up with everybody. I don't necessarily talk to them all the time, but I am able to see where they are in their practice, if they, relocated, however everything is going as well too.
Awesome. Okay.
I think we were all just, as chiropractors, I think we're all just waiting on this video. And as soon as soon as this happens, and more people see it, then it's definitely, if people don't have the interest of going into the profession, they'll at least become more aware of the existence of it.
Yes.
It's very, very helpful.
So like, what do you guys think? So I know that the training has changed. So you mentioned evidence-based medicine in regards to care. There's someone who I previously discussed being able to diagnose, or at least knowing exactly where to refer patients to, depending on the track that you did. So what has changed in the field from even just 10 years ago to now? Because even like where I work, they're bringing on chiropractic care. They're bringing on acupuncture. They're looking at a whole health perspective for patients and going back into the holistic aspect. So what do you guys think? It's kind of that, it sounds like you guys are like slow river flowing, and you're just gonna
right.
boom, you know?
We're gonna become an exploding waterfall.
Yes.
Yes.
It's good. I think that would be great.
That's such a great question. I think it's not much in terms of any changes that have happened within the chiropractic profession itself, as much as it is the changes in the perceptions of the people surrounding the chiropractic profession, and their perceptions towards, like, the opioid epidemic became really, really huge a few years ago. People who have tried surgeries or who have had recommended surgeries falsely. I mean, I'm the first unfortunate witness to that. But it can greatly happen. So not to discount the need for medication and not to discount the need for more invasive medicine, but I think people are exhausting, or they're trying to exhaust more of their holistic and natural resources first before they try something invasive that has significantly more detrimental side effects versus the chiropractic manipulation. So, there has been a lot more research now that we're getting a lot more interest from people. We have a lot more case studies that we're able to use to back up our manipulations and the way that we're treating our patients for many, many different diseases and dysfunctions within the body. So it's not just for back pain, but it's a phenomenal question.
I would say to piggyback on that, research was probably the bigger thing as well. The biggest change right now is just the integrative medicine that's starting to happen. You're going to see facilities that have multi-practicing physicians there now. The research really just put us in the forefront to show the validity of what we do, and also the outcomes for it as well. And now, with that said, societally, people are starting to become more conscious of what they're consuming as well. Organic going to become a trend, natural, like things that brands are changing into those and getting away from processed foods. And then same thing as well in terms of just care in general for their health. And then the last part would be probably just we're so accustomed to doing or seeing the physician when we already have a problem presenting. More of it now is trending into the direction of preventative. If you can prevent this problem that you may see arising before it becomes an actual problem and really severe, then you're going to have better outcomes with it as well, and probably not as long of a treatment that you would need with just medication or even possible surgery.
Yeah, I'm a witness to that, definitely.
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk about myself just yet. How you guys have like changed my life forever, but I do want. All right, so you guys you finished school, you've made a professional family, if you will, or just friends in general, family in general, and then you're moving into a job, right? Got to pay for school.
Scary. Yes.
What was that like? You said so scary. Yeah.
So I actually had a little bit of a pause after I graduated school, because that's when I decided to get married. So as soon as I finished school, I finished in December of 2013. I got married, and then I took a long pause until August of 2014. And I was enjoying life for a little bit. And thinking back at it now, I think I was a bit more nervous than I was enjoying life of what's to come, regardless of how much your graduating institution prepares you for your career and what's coming up ahead of you. I always liked confidence, and a lot of my classmates did. And hearing that my classmates had the lack of confidence just like I did put me more at ease, knowing that I couldn't be confident until I dove head on into the profession and just started it. And it was an amazing experience to be able to practice everything that I've learned, because in a moment you forget how much you learned through school. And you're like, well, what am I going to use this? This is nonsense. There is no way. And it's amazing how much your brain is able to retain this information and what you can do with that information to help so many people ahead of you. So, so I took a break, then applied, got a job, and I met you.
Best day of my life. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Dr. Asad?
So, daunting because there's a lot to it. You know, are you going to be somebody that wants to open up your own practice? Are you going to go into partnership? Do you want to do an associateship? These are a lot of questions that you just have to internalize yourself and figure out what you're going to do, what's best for your situation. So, when I was in school and, you know, maybe within less than a year left, I was determined to want to be my own boss. I wanted to treat my own patients, practice the way that I wanted to. And that still holds true. But much like with school, life happened again. We were expecting our first child right after, towards the tail end of actually a few months after graduating. So, you know, there's a lot of investment that you have to put forth with just creating your own practice. I have friends and family referrals and, you know, marketing. It's just a lot of costs that you're going to start to endure. And I didn't think I was going to be in an ideal situation to take on that endeavor. So when I started applying for jobs, I was really looking for a partnership potentially, or at least doing some sort of clinic director for multi-clinic practice. And ultimately, you know, with the company that I joined, I was having the opportunity to still have my own practice and be the director of there. And then again, life got in the way, which no complaints on my part. It takes especially for a first year doc, like you're going to be really busy, a lot of responsibilities, and you just don't know how to overcome. You think you're ready out there, but with the amount of volume that you're going to be seeing, the amount of paperwork, whether you're just cash based or you're handling with insurance, you know, until you do rinse and repeat to get that muscle memory of doing things repetitively down. I was really busy and working until late in the evenings, and being home was more of a need for me, especially early on with my infant son. So I switched from wanting to be a clinic director to looking for an associateship. That's when I joined with Dr. Dana at our Waukegan Gurnee clinic. And then that life balance really was there. That's when I really got the work balance, life balance down. And then I was able to spend time in both areas working and perfecting them.
Awesome. That work-life balance is really hard to get together when you're first out of school.
Yeah, you have no idea what you're doing. You think you know everything, and, you know, but you really don't until you really get your feet wet.
Yeah. Whew, I'm still working on it. Well, I think I got it now. All right. So you guys kind of give us what you do, like a day in the life of a chiropractor. So you mentioned manipulation. I know the only thing I can talk about is pre-core, so can't help you with that.
Yeah, a lot of pre-core.
Yeah. So kind of give us an idea of what you all do on a daily basis.
So for chiropractic, it is a combination of chiropractic and physical therapy. The chiropractic medicine that Dr. Asad and I practice in our office is more geared towards active physical therapy and active rehab. We're using some passive therapy in terms of icing and things like that, but it's more actively engaging the muscles. It all starts from meeting the patient, right? So the process of being a chiropractor on a regular day or a regular work week is having the encounter with the patient, collecting the history, doing initial physical examination, a kind of neurological examination, orthopedic testing to check on the bones, the muscles, the nerves, everything, to really hone in on the problem and make a full-on diagnosis that can be utilized while comparing the subjective statements, the objective statements to the x-rays. So we take x-rays of our patients as well. And then the patients come back for their the report of findings, where we have a full-on prescription of their care. So just like a patient comes to you, Dr. Jessica, and with their complaints, or you're getting a request from a doctor, and you're giving them that medication, very similar to what a chiropractor would do, except that we're prescribing chiropractic manipulations and physical therapy and rehab exercises to help with their complaints. And then the chiropractic manipulation, that's the best part of my job personally. And it is where we move the bones. There are lots of, Dr. Asad, you mentioned the YouTube videos earlier, like videos that are becoming more and more common. So it's so common that we have patients coming in and we're like, have you had any chiropractic care before? And they're like, no, but I watch YouTube videos. Just like they're like, you know how people are hooked onto the pimple poppers? there are there are patients that are hooked onto like back popping, and it's very satisfying to the patient just as much as it is satisfying for the chiropractor to be able to manipulate a joint and have the patient get up feeling more energetic, significantly in less pain, more mobile, more flexible, and just in great spirits overall. So, and then we can take x-rays at the end of their care to measure their progress and see where it's at. And then we continuously see our patients about once a month or once every other month just to make sure that all is well.
Yes. Dr. Asad.
Yeah.
Did she wrap it all up with a pretty bow?
Yeah, ditto. There you go.
I don't know how to, yeah. I was about to say, I don't know how you're going to follow that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll speak from like a patient aspect, because chiropractic care is getting more, I don't want to say popular, but more mainstream, I guess, which means the same thing. But, you know, for me, I went to the chiropractor because my parents went to a chiropractor back home. And that chiropractor went to my home church and talked about some, you know, they do the physical therapy or the active rehab along with adjustments. And my parents were like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever." And I'm like, "Okay, relax. Like, you know, it's fine. Okay, I get it. You enjoy it." But I noticed, you know, they had more energy. You know, they were working out more. I could tell a difference, right? So I was like, "Oh, they might be onto something." So I was at the gym, and I guess one of the corporate people were like, "Hey, do you want to see if your back's out of whack?" And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "Yeah, you're crooked, and go see Dr. Dana and Dr. Asad." I was like, "Okay, my insurance covers it. Sure, let's go." You guys, I'm telling you, this has been one of the best decisions I've made in my personal healthcare, because I had back problems since pharmacy school, and I would go to the doctor when my back was out. I'm young though, but I would go to the doctor when my back was out, and then I would be down for a week. My back went out earlier this year, and I came in every day, got adjusted, took maybe ibuprofen, got ice. You guys gave me an ice pack, and I was good to go in 3 days. 3 days.
That's amazing.
3 days, guys. 3. No injections, no pain medication. I mean,
it's magical.
I
and you know, hearing it from a patient, and you know, unfortunately, we hear very, very similar stories all day long. And at the end of the day, we almost become desensitized. I mean, I've been in this practice for quite some time now, and we fail to forget, after a long, busy day of serving so many people, we fail to forget the impact that we're having on our patients. So thank you for sharing that, because that took me back to the first day I met you. I just remember how badly in pain you were. And it truly is humbling to see you feeling so much better, to see you being more functional, having more energy, and just, you know, living your life at its best at such a young age, as you should, right? And as much as very young age, as much as I or Dr. Asad would like to take the credit, but we always tell our patients that the ability of your body, my body, Dr. Asad's body, to heal itself is all within itself, right? And sometimes it just gets stuck in its ways, and you know, whether it is a subluxation or a muscle pull that may have been caused by a subluxation.
Hey, puppies.
It was just it was just a matter of time. Or inflammation from like a bad diet or dehydration or all of that. The chiropractic manipulation really does reset the body and allows for the body to heal itself. So we would love to take the credit for what your body is doing for you, but we're just pushing it a little bit. That's it. But the body is so profound in its ways of healing, for sure.
And then if I could take a second with it,
yes,
you remember when you first came in, one thing that we do with our patients is, you know, they'll come in with pain and limitations and dysfunction and ability to do, you know, a certain particular task, maybe whether it's at work or just daily active living, you know, simple tasks of like putting their pants on, getting something from the top shelf, carrying 10 pounds of groceries. Do you remember why or what the goal, when I asked you, like, what are you looking to get out of this? What do you want to achieve? Obviously the pain management for you, but what's your ultimate goal to get back into?
I feel like I probably said I want to do a box jump in the gym.
Yep, I remember that. So this is
Mm-hmm.
when I think you were getting back into fitness, or you were doing fitness, but you were having your hurdles with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
my
then
bad. Yeah.
with right, so we'll just make it our intention. And I even told you, if I'm not mistaken, I told you to dial it down with your workouts, because you were doing like what, 5 days back to back to back to back to back, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, you gotta
I
let
was
your
working on
body
my work-life
realize.
balance at that point.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. See, things come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so what was it that you told me? Yeah, was it like 3 months ago? Or even earlier than that? Well,
I
I
probably did
remember
a
when you came in here, you instead of walking in and maybe starting on the pre-core or just getting into some of your stretches, you made a beeline right to the table where I just,
Mhm.
and then you were just waiting there patiently once I had a free moment, and you made sure to sit there, grab my attention, and you're like, I have something to
Quietly.
tell you, and I have something to tell you, and I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And you're like, guess what I did today? And I'm just like, you got out of work early? You're like, oh, yes, of course. But I did a box jump today. And then it was just like me taking that memory, like, box jump today. And it brought me all the way back. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
wow. And then, and like just the joy and the
Wow.
excitement and the accomplishment that you had, not on top of being out of pain, but, doing something, setting a goal and actually achieving it when you probably didn't think it was attainable for you, considering the condition you were in when you first came in. That
Yeah.
was an awesome moment. And then, being able to see multiple patients, like we have those awesome moments
Yes.
periodically. Like I live vicariously through my patients. I try to make your goal align with what I want to get out of it for you as well. And going from there. And that's why I love what I'm doing.
I mean, I can still do a box jump. That's all I'm going to say.
How many boxes now?
No, we'll just do the one because I'm
Okay.
tall. That's a long fall down. Okay.
That's very true. Gravity is undefeated.
Yes, it is. Yeah, gravity will get me every time.
Hey,
But
that's one more than I can do.
hey, listen, you come on down
There
to the
you
gym.
go.
We'll get you there.
Perfect deal.
So it's very, one thing I like about your career, and I want to come full circle too, is you guys actually really build a rapport with your patients. Like, I look forward to seeing you guys, and when I started seeing you once a week, I missed you.
We go through similar withdrawals, for sure.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And I think that's another good aspect of your field, is that you really get to know your patients, and they also bring you food.
Yes.
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 That's
Those
probably
are the patients we know
highlight.
extra well.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
we're very, very fortunate. I have a number of doctors that come and shadow us in the office, and they always say, every time they leave, they always say, your patients are just so great. Your patients are just so great. And I'm like, they are, like, it's amazing. And what it really comes down to is what you are doing for those people and how well you're present with them. So whenever you're in the office, Dr. Jessica, our full-on attention is on you. It's not what's going on at my home. It's not what's going on with Dr. Asad's goal. It's not going on with any of my staffing problems. It's not the air conditioner that's not working at the moment. Because our hands, as the healers, they have to make physical contact onto your body. And if there is any kind of mental interruption, nothing is going to work. So we have to make sure that we are significantly disconnected from everything that's going on in the body and from our life, and just being physically and mentally present with you, which just makes us so attentive to everything that you guys say. And we're pretty psychic, we've been told. So we just retain a lot of this information. And we see you guys on a high frequency of care in the beginning of your care. So we tend to build such great relationships with the people. And, as we are treating the physical body, we also have to treat the mental state. So if I'm grumpy and if I have a patient that's in pain, there is no way they're going to get better. There is no way I'm going to serve them well. So we always just like to provide not just the healing touch, but the healing environment in the clinic itself. We like it to be positive and lively, because we're in there 12 hours a day. So we have to make sure that it is, it's a long day. But we have to make it the best atmosphere for ourselves, for our team, and for our patients as well. And they bring us food.
Yes. Did you have anything to add to that, Dr. Asad?
As far as the rapport with the patients, it does help seeing them on a higher frequency that you normally would see your primary care. We are primary cares in the state of Illinois. But with, especially early on, you have to build that rapport with the patients just to get outcomes, whether it's whatever I want as a physician or what the patient wants, because, you're going to have limitations, you're going to have ups and downs, there's going to be setbacks. So you have to account for that. So you have to be on the same page with the patient and meet, first of all, as a physician, their expectation. Otherwise, you're just doing it for yourself, and it's very selfish reasons as to why. You may have a patient who wants something else entirely, and at the end of it all, it may not work out for the both of you. So just having that rapport, because if I'm expecting you to do a certain exercise, or I want you to do at a certain regimen, and you're incapable of it, then we have to readjust. And especially early on, it does take that constant attentive to detail. And then once things get flowing there, then you just really build from it. And every visit is just, it's like reading a good book. You get to see the same person, pick up where you left off, and instead of having to redo everything constantly over and over again.
Exactly.
Awesome. That's very true. So I want to wrap up with you guys, because I know that you just you said you work 12 hours a day, and there's no way. And Dr. Asad is still at work. And so, so you guys, you had the dream of wanting to become a chiropractor or being in the medical field and really just wanting to help people. You secured that dream, and now you are doing exactly what it is that you went forth to do. Is there anything that you have going forward that you want to further with your career? Are there any other dreams that you guys have that you're potentially wanting to work on sometime down the road, or whatever the case may be?
For me personally, being a chiropractor was such a great dream of mine. And now that it has been achieved, now that I do have that title and I'm able to serve so many people in my community, my bigger dream is, how can I do this just so much better? How can I do it on such a bigger scale and a greater scale to have such a huge imprint onto my community, onto the city that I live in, onto the state, onto the country. So not just in my small scope of where I am, because then I'll be able to leave such a lasting legacy, not just for myself, but for the profession of chiropractic. So it doesn't end here. It's just the beginning for sure. But now that my dream has been achieved, it's just the first step into such a bigger ladder for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes. We're going to put you out there for the world to see. What about you, Dr. Asad?
I touched on it earlier. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to run my own clinic, and life, it got changed. It had its own decisions for me to make. So at some point, I am looking in 2021 to have my own office and really just build everything that the moment that I created here with Dr. Dana at Joaquin Gurney's clinic, and just go for wherever that takes me, and go from there and just start my own practice and build from there, have, just emulate everything that we built here as well, and that Dr. Dana built initially before I even got here. On a side note, something that she didn't mention, just because she wanted to be, humble, is, within our company, it's not to be competitive, but we do have metrics that we have to meet. And one of the goals that we made with our staff as well in the beginning of the year, rather, in January, or maybe even December, was to be clinic of the year within our company too. So that's something that we've been striving for. We've been doing a really good job at it too. And we'll see come December.
I mean, who do I need to call? Because it's a no-brainer. Clinic of the year, duh.
Yeah. Considering 2020 and considering COVID, And, you know, all the negative presumptions about the year and all the negative connotations that do come with the year, we're one of the few privileged to say that this year truly has been one of the most remarkable year for us, perhaps not in our personal lives, but for sure in our professional lives. The big challenge of COVID allowed us so much certainty in what we're providing for our patients in terms of chiropractic, and it was just extremely remarkable. And it allowed us significant growth on such a professional level. As Dr. Asad is sitting here and he's mentioning that in 2020, he wants to be a clinic director for himself. And as saddened as I am, as much as a huge loss as this would be for me, I knew that this year has prepared him for this opportunity, and he's going to excel at it without a doubt. He's going to do phenomenal. So, Clinic of the Year.
Yes.
Now I can brag about it. I was just waiting for someone to say it.
Oh, okay.
You can edit
Great
this part
segue. Out. I mean, like, do I need to edit it? You let me know. I'll send it to you first. Okay, I'll write that down. All right, so I want to leave all the listeners with some words of wisdom from you guys. Like any words of wisdom, encouragement, anything that you think that you wish somebody would have told you when you were on the other end of the road. And whoever wants to start, go for it.
I'll share one thing that my mentor always says is that there is nothing that comes your way that is stopping you from getting to your next level. Whatever is in the way is preparing you for the next level. And every time I am faced with a challenge, and like I said before, this year has been a great example. Every time I'm faced with a challenge, I always look at that challenge in means of how it will serve me versus why is this challenge in my way and why is it here to cripple me? So I always use my challenges to my advantage. And every time I am faced with a challenge, I just look at it as a true test to how well I want to achieve my goal and to how seriously do I want to get to that next goal, because everything is just a little hurdle that we can't get through. It's all based on your mental ability to try to see it in a completely different perspective, and a perspective that's going to serve you in the long run versus something that's going to hinder you from getting into your big goal of becoming whatever it is that you choose to be.
That's awesome. Let's follow that up, Dr. Asad.
Yeah, thanks. So, you know, in the perspective of a student or somebody who's looking to join the chiropractic field, or somebody who's going to be graduating this school and getting out there, you know, exposure is really the biggest thing early on. If you see what other people are doing, if you are familiar with, you know, different practices that people have and the different style of practices they have, the biggest thing that you're going to know is exactly what you want to do. And even with like a year left of school, I didn't necessarily know what kind of practice I wanted. I had an idea, I had a vision. It wasn't necessarily the clearest one. And it really wasn't until I started shadowing other clinics, really exposing myself out with other doctors and just having conversations with them and seeing that what worked for them may not work for me. What they really had a passion for, I wasn't really interested in. And then it gave me a sense of exactly what I wanted to do and the type of doctor and physician that I wanted to be and how I wanted to serve my patients. And then it was just really taking my first step forward into the field and getting out there and seeing patients.
Awesome. Taking the leap of faith, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to talk to the audience about what it means to you to be a chiropractor and the road to get there. I'm, again, Dr. Jessica. I'm the founder and primary mentor for Dream Secured Mentoring Network. If you guys have questions for either Dr. Dana or Dr. Asad, you can for sure email us at secured.dream@gmail.com. And Dr. Dana or Dr. Asad, if you would love to say a goodbye and how we can reach you, that would be great.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for having us and for giving us this opportunity to share and to give an insight into this profession that's not very, very well discovered, but truly is available. And anybody could reach me through my work email. That's Dana, my first name, .Zeina, Zeina, at chiro1.net. And my clinic is in Waukegan, Gurnee, Illinois. So if you guys are local, if you're around the area, if you'd like to stop in, say hello. You don't have to bring us food. Just come in and say hello. Look at the profession. Talk to maybe patients, see what it is like to be a chiropractic patient. And I would be more than delighted to host you for a day.
Awesome. Dr. Asad?
Yeah, thank you for having us, Dr. Jess. The opportunity to speak to, the many people that this is going to reach is priceless, right? So just to be a part of it, I'm really excited for it as well. They can reach me at my email for, it would be my first and last name, my first name dot last name. So ASAD.KHAN at chiro1 with the 2 O's at .net. And any questions, I'd be more than willing to give my insight if it's helpful.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, this has been another session of So You Want to Be a ... You guys fill in the blank, but today we talked to 2 of my favorite chiropractors ever. Thank you guys again, and we will talk to you guys next time.